And let's see what's happening. Hold on, give me a second. Let me make sure I got this on all setups. All right, so it just posted on my Twitter, so we are officially live right now. Oh shit! Hold on. Uh-oh. Damn it! Did her laptop just die? Hold on, give me just a second, y'all. Here we go. You're on here?
I'm on here. Yeah, I got kicked out, but I'm back.
Okay. I was gonna say, what in the world just happened? All right, let me make sure everything's good on my end. If not, I'll have to redo it one more time. Let's see real quick. You have to bear with me for 2 seconds to make sure everything isn't working right. Because I know some people were having some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Hey, y'all. Sorry, we're just having some technical difficulties. Okay, I see everybody here now. All right. Hey, y'all. Shanti says, hey. Mr. Bill says, hey, I see you both. Shanti says, hey, Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got to bear with me. This is literally my first, 2Raw&Unfiltered chat. I really couldn't see if y'all was in here or not, so my bad, y'all. This is a little ghetto. This is what it is. Y'all already know who it is. Y'all already know, things don't go right for me all the time, so it's a situation. But, hey, y'all. So, this is 2Raw&Unfiltered. My name is Kenny 2Raw, 2Real, and I have here with me Brittany Oliver. Go ahead and introduce yourself, girl, for those who don't know.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Oliver. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a community activist, organizer, policy advocate. I am also have been working in communications and media for many, many years. And I've done tons of work. I've worked with multiple nonprofits in social justice. Have led, organizations, worked on numerous campaigns locally as well as on Capitol Hill. And so I'm so excited to be speaking with Kenny, who is one of my favorite personalities, my favorite people, online right now. So I'm really excited to be here talking with you all.
Hey, so I want you guys to know what this is before y'all even get confused. Okay, this is called 2Raw&Unfiltered. This is going to be a safe space. I don't give a damn about monetization. Everybody in the comments, make sure that you're commenting because we're going to be having an open-ended conversation with me, you, and Brittany. So we're going to be talking about the Kamala Harris hate train. We're going to be talking about a few things on here, okay? I know y'all already seen it. Today has been not one of the best days, especially with the whole Tupac fiasco, whatever. But we're here to actually talk about what's been going on. We're here to talk about the marginalization of Kamala Harris supporters, how we're constantly being attacked online, how we're constantly being doxxed, how we're constantly being harassed by online bots. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today. So I want you guys to get your glass, get you something to sip on. Tonight I am sipping on Old Boy's Aunt Gloria's margarita, child. We're gonna get into it. We gotta get into it. We really got to, because sometimes it drives you to drink. And this thing right here be giving me a headache. I'm just let y'all know right here. It gives me a headache. Some things don't work out too well. But it does hit when I need it to. And it sure does keep me lit. What are you sipping on, Brittany?
So I'm drinking a mezcal margarita type of drink. I made it really pretty. Got some salt around the rim. So
see, hers look pretty. Mine is from, the Dollar Tree wine glass, child. Literally only took a couple cents. 50 cents, actually. I got a few of these. Dollar Tree, shoot, if I accidentally drop this thing, it's over. There's no coming back from this little cheap ass. It is what it is. Y'all already get it with me. I don't care. I ain't all about the money and the bling bling. As long as it gets the job done. That's all I care about, y'all. That's all I care about. Anybody sipping on anything in the comments, let me know before we get started. I want to know what you're sipping on. I want to know what you're drinking on. And how's y'all day been going? So please comment. Remember, this is open conversation. We're talking to you. You're talking with us back. Y'all can jump in. I'm gonna definitely shout you guys out in the comment sections. Okay. So let's see what's it say. Hold on. Let's see. Come to start with Dollar Tree. Hold on. Let's see. Maker's Mark on the rocks. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see the comment?
I can see him. Yeah.
See, there we go. And see where such things are happening here. Okay, so Kara says Maker's Marks on the rock, so you can actually see that. Y'all can see. I'm telling y'all, this is an open conversation, so I want you guys to be able to see. Lady Menopause is my girl. I don't know if y'all know this. Sarah. Sarah says, "Hey Kenny, I wasn't able to join the chat today. You know, we do the happy hour. I don't know if it was a happy hour today, but hey Sarah, I just want to say hey girl." And I see a few people that I know. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the Kamala Harris hate train, okay? Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Stop this. Okay. Okay, how do I turn? Okay, there we go. There we go. Sorry. So let's talk about the Kamala Harris hate train. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it just seems like black women have just been disrespected all this week, and it's just been kind of like heavy. There's been this Kamala Harris hate train since she announced her candidacy, and it's been a lot of misinformation. It's been a lot of marginalization of her supporters. They're trying to silence us. And I just want you guys to know that don't be deterred by all of the stuff that you see online, because online isn't real. If online was real, Bernie Sanders would be the nominee. So I want you guys just to remember that. Even with all the things they threw at Kamala Harris, even though she had to drop out in December, she still ended up on the ticket. And a lot of people are mad and a lot of people are pressed by that. But what do you think about the Kamala Harris hate train? Where do you think this stems from, Brittany?
So, thank you, Kenny. I think that as an early supporter of Kamala Harris, what I want to start by saying is that I first was introduced to Kamala Harris's work when I was working on Capitol Hill during the Kavanaugh hearing. And there were protests in D.C., in Baltimore, all over the country. And I remember hearing Kamala Harris taking the stage and speaking on Kavanaugh hearings during that time. And I was probably maybe about 5 rows away from her. That is when I started to notice Kamala Harris. It's when I heard her speak for the first time. And the work that she did around holding these politicians in power accountable was really what made me want to learn more about who she was. And she just seems like that she was very thorough and effective and wasn't playing no games, right, when it comes to getting justice. So, first of all, when we talk about where the hate train started, let's start where it begins when a black woman decides to own their power and take over their agency and autonomy away from society that has placed stereotypes, labels, expectations, closed boxes on us, on black women as a whole. So I thought it was interesting that the hate elevated when she announced her run for candidacy as president of the country. And so that let me know that the more access to power that black women have, the more threatening they become, right, to certain types of people. And so I think that the hate train for Kamala Harris started early. But when she announced her candidacy to be president of the country, I think that's where it really began.
I don't know. I believe you because I definitely saw it. I remember back during the Kavanaugh, hearings and stuff like that. Kamala Harris was perceived so well, especially by the black community, black women, black men. everyone loved Kamala until she decided to run for office.
Right.
And it brings into what you were saying earlier when black women are getting close to having actual tangible power. I feel that there's always going to be this pushback or this lashing back of like, oh no, not yet. We're not ready yet. We were talking about how we like you, but all of a sudden we build people up until we're able to actually tear them right back down again. And I think that's when that misinformation started happening. We started seeing a lot of stuff come out. I remember when Kamala Harris first announced her candidacy, all of a sudden there was all these hit pieces that came out with it. It was just all this misinformation. Lara Bazelon, a lot of people who wrote these articles, by the way, having something to do with pedophilia, etc., etc. The P word. Also to predators, etc. It was a lot of doxing, a lot of looking up, a lot of information, because a lot of us didn't have access to information. It was a lot of things that happened in 2016 that was just regurgitated and put on Kamala Harris in 2020. And I was hoping that, we would actually learn from our past mistakes from 2016 and not necessarily follow the misinformation, not run with any hits piece, actually look into something before we just kind of run with it. Unfortunately, that just didn't happen. Yeah. It honestly took all that misinformation for me to actually get involved, because as a black man, even though I'm gay or whatever, as a black man, it's my job to protect black women at all costs. And I knew something was up. It just didn't sit well with me in my spirit. So I said, let me look a little bit deeper into it. So I started doing some research into Kamala, something that I haven't even noticed. I actually didn't know of Kamala, at least this extensively, until the misinformation came out. I learned about her creating reentry programs called the Back on Track program, where she worked with first-time low-level drug offenders to give them access to a job rather than prison time. I learned she created one of the first environmental justice unit that was going to hold, oil companies and people who actually pollute in low-income redline communities accountable for the things that they're doing to marginalized people, people of color, black people, black and brown people. That's something that Kamala Harris did back in 2004 as a DA. She created the Children Protection Bureau, protecting children from predators, etc. Again, the people who wrote those hit pieces, articles, who have some sort of affiliation to predators, like Laura Bazelon, the Beth Lynches, the Guy Hamiltons. Oh, I'm calling the guys' names out, baby. This is 2Raw&Unfiltered. So it's going down. I don't care about being, monetized. I ain't trying to make no money. We're trying to win an election. We're going to speak the truth over here. So those types of people, these people were the ones who were spreading all this misinformation. And they also had heavy ties with Bernie Sanders. Not saying Bernie Sanders is a horrible person. I'm just saying there was a conflict of interest when it comes to these reporters, because there was two affiliated with certain campaigns. Let's just be honest. So I did more research into it. I learned that she was literally, I didn't even know that it was her who actually led the cause over the $20 billion homeowner settlement with the mortgage frauds, etc. The predatory mortgage lending that disproportionately hurt black and brown communities. That's what Kamala Harris did. So when people say that she's anti-black, what are you talking about? You guys are saying negative connotations without providing full evidence, facts, receipts, sources, or data. And that's where the frustration comes. That's why you guys see me lashing out the way I do online, because you guys are willfully and ignorantly retweeting this stuff without actually looking into it, which brings us to misinformation. What do you have to say about misinformation? A little bit more. Just go in.
Sure. So I think that. So let me say this: as someone who has worked on the Hill, who has been in the trenches of this work, there was certain moments in time where I started to see a little bit of the Kamala, and that's why I always reference to it being in the early. I mean, before she came up with the campaign for wanting to run for president, there were people who I had seen, or who I know personally in my work, and people on Twitter who were saying, "Oh, well, she's a prosecutor, so whatever she has to say about this, I had seen signs of that early on. It wasn't as, as trendy, right, or politicized as it was until after she announced her candidacy for president. So you are right in that regard. When she announced her she was running for president, that's when it went way left.
Yeah.
And it started to, and the misinformation started to spread like wildfire. Okay,
Yes.
and so for me personally, as someone, I've been working and doing this work for a really long time. I think that what made me want to get involved in, whether it was it, whatever kind of group you describe when it comes to, protecting and uplifting Kamala Harris. There's lots of them out there. The misinformation that I was seeing was bothering me. And the reason why it was bothering me is because as a Black woman who is an organizer, who's an activist, who cares a lot about public policy and who has done this work, for my entire life, I know exactly what it feels like to have misinformation and lies spread about you because of wanting to have a voice and wanting to be heard. So, what the information that people were putting out, trolls were putting out on social media, I took it upon myself to research each and every allegation that was made against her. And when I learned more about what it was in terms of what her, her, regardless of what her position was, in California, it was it was more so around her because she was just in a position of power, not necessarily because he had a direct involvement in everybody's situation. And I think that it made me realize that a lot of people really do not understand what it means to be DA or to be a prosecutor or to be an attorney or, the layers that goes into the position that you hold. And so I guess generally what I want to say is that number one, I started an organization called Not Without Black Women that's based in Baltimore. We advocate on Black women issues ranging from activism, politics, entertainment, the whole, literally everything. And when she announced that she wanted to become president, it was almost as I knew that there was going to be some type of resistance towards her running because of the expectations that a lot of influencers, celebrities, voters, etc. have on the way that Black women are supposed to be. So, when that happened, in terms of misinformation, it didn't take me very long to decide that I needed to do what I needed to do in order to work towards dismantling lies, myths, misinformation about her work.
Yeah. So exactly. I mean, there is an unnecessary, literally, they hold Black women to the most. It's not just Black women, but just women in general to the most impossible expectations. Somehow you have to be Mother Teresa. Sometimes you can't be too loud. You can't be too angry. You can't be too emotional. You can't be too pandering. You can't be anything. So it's ridiculous to the level and extremes that they will go to make sure that they undermine women, especially powerful Black women. And it's a sad situation. The other thing, I'm going to read a few comments because I think a few people wanted to say a few things. So, what we were talking about earlier, Shanta also agreed with us. She said, same here. after Tulsi upstage, I began to do more research on Kamala Harris. She's awesome. Exactly. And I think that's where the problem is. A lot of people kind of just ran with it because again, there's this preconceived notion when it comes to women in politics. Women are supposed to be greedy. Women are literally undermining. They have an agenda, you know. So there's that aspect of it all. And then being the fact that she's also a black woman. And not only that, but she was the first black district attorney. She was the first black female attorney general of California. These things matter. And I think maybe that also scares them, being the fact that she was the first to do so. Maybe they kind of got, I feel like anytime we move forward as a nation or move forward as a people, we always have to move like 3 steps backwards. And I think even with Barack Obama being our first black president, I feel that Donald Trump's presidency was a backlash of white supremacy. And they just couldn't handle the fact that they felt, well, I guess we were going to be equal or have a sense of being equal, which actually was just a false sense of, equality. Because honestly, even with that, we lost Trayvon Martin. It didn't matter. The same things that are happening. The only difference is we're actually filming it. The same thing with Breonna Taylor. I mean, you just see everything that basically happened. And a lot of people don't know this. DAs are elected, attorney generals are elected, and voting is power. And we put these people in place. For the same people that say they're not going to vote, they're not going to turn out, just know that you're literally giving up on equality. You're giving up on real, actual change. And what Kamala Harris did was literally groundbreaking. It was way more progressive than anything you can think of. Kamala Harris has been talking about defunding the police since she was DA of San Francisco. And I'm not talking about defunding meaning abolish or get rid of, but redistributing some of that money, that unnecessary, overly funded money into the community. Like what she did with creating the First Nation Back on Track program. We're working with low-level drug offenders. Creating safe houses for exploited youth. Let's not say sex workers. Exploited youth. People who are actually being forced into trafficking. Forced into prostitution. That's what Kamala Harris did. And she made sure that those people were seen as victims rather than seen as young prostitutes. That's something Kamala Harris, that's way before her time. This is DA, environmental justice. A lot of people want to talk about go green, etc. We want to decrease our carbon emissions. Kamala Harris created that. So I think a lot of people need to understand some of these things. And the misinformation that you see of her locking up black parents for truancy, which just never happened. As Attorney General, not one parent was ever arrested for truancy. Not one, not 2, not 3, not 0. That's how many. 0. When it came to locking up people for marijuana charges, every year as Attorney General and DA, those marijuana admissions dropped. Her first year as Attorney General, it was 817 admissions. Her last year, it was 135, actually, to be exact. So when you're looking at that, that's a free fall. And this is before they passed marijuana into law to where it was legalized. Because marijuana hasn't been actually implemented to be legal until 2018. Kamala Harris became senator in 2017. So there's the timeline. This is the fact. This is the data. It's something that you can look up. And I think the problem that I have, especially when it comes to this hate train, is the fact that it's more than just that. It's more than just the misinformation. I think it's the I don't know. I'm starting to believe that it has nothing to do with substance anymore or personality. I think it has something to do with something that's even more deeper than we ever go into. I think we as a people, as black people, have been conditioned to believe that we are less than, or we have to hold our own people underwater so that one another can breathe. There's this crab in the barrel mentality, and I don't necessarily know what that is, which brings me to my second topic that I want to talk about, which is pandering. I don't know if you guys seen this weekend, or just today, honestly, that Kamala Harris was being attacked by these Tupac's comments saying that, her favorite rapper of all time alive was Tupac, Some people think he's alive, some people think he's dead, child. That's been a floating rumor for years, child. Everybody knows about that. However, this has nothing to do with policy. This has nothing to do with substance. This has nothing to do with tangibles. When you're saying somebody's pandering because they're meeting you where they are, or people are actually trying to humanize these politicians, because let's just be honest, Kamala Harris has a lot of policies. Justice and policing. She has uterine fibroid bill. She's been working her ass off. She's been up and down this nation, Michigan. She was Milwaukee. She's been everywhere. So when she's doing an interview and somebody wants to humanize her so that you can understand that these are human beings, they bleed blood just like us. They're not superhuman. They're not, don't have any superpowers. I mean, Kamala Harris has a superpower. She kind of got a superpower, super prosculatory power. But, I mean, these are real human beings. And they have a life outside of politics.
Yeah.
They have children, they have husbands, they have family members, they eat food, child. Yes, they do. She likes hot sauce on her greens just like you do, just like I do. She can eat a pork chop when she wants to. It's not pandering when she's doing things that's a part of her community, because let's just be real, Kamala Harris is a black woman. Mm-hmm. So when you see a black woman doing regular black things, that's not pandering. That's just being who you are. And maybe you're not used to it because you're used to it mainly be coming from white politicians. Maybe you're not used to representation because we are, again, the least represented in the House, the least represented in the Senate. We only make up 14% of this nation, yet 42% of the fatality rates of coronavirus are black people. So I want you guys to really think about that. Mm-hmm. But let's stay on topic. Pandering. What do you think about pandering? What do you have to say about that? What do you think about all of this stuff that's been happening?
So, first and foremost, what I want to say, this whole topic and issue around pandering, whether, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, speaking with celebrities. I know recently there was a whole lot of controversy around Joe Biden talking to Cardi B, right, in a segment. Look, folks, pandering, is it pandering? Or is it voter outreach? How are you? Let's be real here. So we're talking about politicians who are running. They have tons of policies on their website. How many people go on their website and read every single page, every word?
Sorry, this drink, child. It's not COVID. It's this drink, I promise. But nobody's reading nothing. They ain't even going to the website. Child, they just want something to complain about. But carry on, continue.
So I'm a person, I love reading about policy. That does not mean everyone else does. It is dry, it's boring, multiple pages. How else do you think that these candidates are supposed to reach out to you about the issues that they care about? It's not pandering. It's called voter outreach. And every candidate, regardless of their party affiliation, involve themselves in that process. It is very confusing to me, especially with a black woman who is going to be the vice president of the United States.
Amen. Amen.
Someone who was born in Oakland. Someone who attended HBCU. Someone who is a part of a black sorority. How do you question that over another candidate eating fried chicken, holding boom boxes, taking photos about being in the ghetto?
I got a video on that if y'all want to see it. It's on my page somewhere.
My my point I'm trying to make is that I am I have yet to be introduced to someone who can make a credible argument against why Kamala Harris is not black enough. And first of all, let's also cancel purity tests, racist, sexist, homophobic purity tests in 2020 and beyond. Let's also do that. Because we started the election with a broad, diverse group of candidates. Let's think about that. Let's think about where we started and how we got to this moment. So instead of being upset with black voters and being upset with the data and the numbers and understanding black voting behavior should help shape your understanding about what American politics is for African Americans in this country. And if it doesn't, and if you dismiss that, you are part of the problem. So I understand the whole notion around white men being in positions of power when it comes to politics. But let me remind everyone where we started.
Yes, ma'am.
And how we got here. What did you do to bring us to this moment right now? We started out with diverse candidates. We had let's think about the candidates of color who had to sacrifice so much to meet the standards of white candidates who had these purity tests around funding, for example. And then when the candidates of color were pushed out of the race, and they had an opportunity to call on more resources and funding, how they switched over from the purity test, completely turned that back to the same purity test that they gave to the candidates of color, accepting funding from corporations. You told the candidates of color that they couldn't accept funding from corporations because it was disingenuous. It was inappropriate. And what happened when the candidates of color got out the race?
Everybody took money. I can tell y'all that right now. So if y'all don't know, there was a pledge. There was a pledge. There was a PAC, which was actually supposed to not take PAC money. So Kamala Harris said that she would agree to not taking PAC money. It didn't matter if it was corporate or anything. No PAC money, only small dollar donations. The maximum that you can give, which is $2,500 a month. That's it. That's the max. Kamala Harris is the only person who stuck to that pledge. She literally had to drop out in December 3rd, to be exact, because she was running out of funding. She refused to take PAC money. She refused to do any of that. So she dropped out. That was the situation. The entire time, Bernie Sanders, no PAC money, was taking PAC money. Elizabeth Warren, she wasn't taking PAC money at first, but when Bernie Sanders and everybody else was doing it, she said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to go ahead and take PAC money. Didn't matter. She wound up having to drop out situation. So the only people who did not agree to taking PAC money was Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and Joe Biden. They're the only ones who said that they're not doing that. But it's sad that they tried to hold black people's foot to the fire, knowing that historically we are the least funded when it comes to running for politics. That's the sad part. So they literally cut off our foots, like Kunta Kinte and Roots, and Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Kamala Harris are literally trying to sprint to keep up with everybody else. And on top of that, and this is the sad part about it, even though Kamala Harris was polling literally polling fourth and fifth consistently throughout the entire race. For some odd reason, MSNBC only gave her 3% of media mentions. But yet, this woman who's only getting 3% of media mentions is getting 64% of online trolls and attacks online. That's it. That's sad. And this is the other thing that really pisses you off. Even when Kamala Harris was polling higher than Pete Buttigieg, they kept removing Kamala Harris from the Giffords Gun Forum commercial. They removed her out of polling, even though she was polling higher than Pete by 1 percentage point. They kept erasing the black woman, which is why I love what Reese said, Operation Block the Black Woman. That's exactly what the situation was. And I don't understand what it is for black people to see this. This is the reason why I created this, 2Raw and Unfiltered. A lot of black, influencers that say that they're pro-black when it might be selectively pro-black or who they want to based off of what everybody else feels. Well, how much influence do you have if you have to follow the crowd when you're supposed to be an influencer? How much influence do you have when you say that you know that they're lying on Kamala Harris, and when other people are hitting you with facts and information, you choose to do nothing? I didn't have but maybe 5 followers at the beginning of this race, and that's 7,500, and I've only had this account for 1 month. Who knows how big this could be in the next couple of months? Reese started off with 1,000 followers. She's up to 70,000 followers because she decided to do something. When she said that she was pro-black, she meant that. She came out to dispute the misinformation. And what Reese did, Black Women Views Media, once you ever all the follow her, if you don't already know who she is, which I highly doubt, what she decided to do, it actually sparked a fire into the K-Hive to make us actually go on camera and go as hard as we do for Kamala Harris. Because that made me get my camera set up and speak truth. It made Drew get his camera to speak truth. Maya was already speaking truth. I forgot about her, but she was already speaking truth. But I want you guys to really pay attention to the people that you follow. If they're an influencer, yeah, they might be a good distraction. But what are they actually doing for your life? Are they giving you something substantive? Are they going to help you, encourage you to vote, to actually do something to invest the same amount of time that you do in watching their videos? Are they investing that same amount of energy making sure that you vote to change your life so that you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck anymore? So that you're not struggling with student loan debt, medical bills. So that way, if you're unemployed right now due to COVID-19 because this lawless, ignorant president refusing to act, knowing months beforehand how detrimental this was going to be and how detrimental it was going to be to people of color. We need leadership because things are only going to get worse and more people are going to die. So anybody telling you not to vote or anybody not encouraging you to vote, you might want to look at them sideways because it seems to me as if they don't have your best interest at heart. You have any comments on that?
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that you're bringing up people who don't have the best interest. I'm thinking about these celebrities who are sitting in their multi-million-dollar mansions telling people not to vote. They're looking for tax breaks. At the end of the day, when, healthcare and, jobs, or, housing is going to be taken away from working people, these celebrities who are sitting in their mansions telling the people not to vote are going to be okay. They're not going to deal with the same struggles that working people have in this country. This is not to say that they don't have struggles, but the struggles that they deal with, it is in comparison to what working people have to deal with on a daily basis. I mean, we are literally living in the middle of a pandemic. We do not have a vaccine. And so this brings up all kinds of issues around jobs, homelessness, the economy, healthcare, climate change. I mean, how do you not find it suspect that there are these famous, I want to especially focus on these famous rappers that are in hip hop industry, that are telling everyday people to not vote.
I put them in the. I don't know. People are commenting, so I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just putting up what people are saying in the comments.
Yeah.
Child, we ain't gonna say no names. We'll just let the people say it. How about that?
It's the phenomenon around this is growing so much. I don't need to say names. People know exactly what is happening. What's happening is voter suppression. Let's not act like voter suppression was not happening back in 2016. What happened back in 2016 up until this point has evolved. So you need to learn how to remain vigilant. You need to learn how to have critical thinking skills on who is trying to influence you when it comes to what your vote actually means. No, I've been doing this work for a long time. I do not know one person who has ever said that voting is the end-all be-all. Voting is one piece to a larger puzzle that will help make a difference in this country. You also have to organize. You also have to talk to your neighbor. You also have to find out what are issues that people care about in your community. Voting is not the end-all be-all, but voting is a very important step to democracy, and is a very important step to you making sure that your voice is heard. I am not sitting in a mansion right now. During the Baltimore uprising, for example, same thing happened. I see it happen time and time again. When the Baltimore uprising happened, there were celebrities screaming at the top of their lungs, demanding, wanting to know, why are people protesting? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Y'all know who I'm talking about. So these celebrities, especially in the hip hop or entertainment arenas, you need to really think about who they're talking to and what they're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to do. You should always question their ability to comprehend how important this election is in 2020, and think about the issues that you deal with every single day. Is it on the same level or capacity as these influencers or these celebrities that are telling you to not vote? Folks, this is a form of voter suppression. It's time that you come to terms and come to grips with knowing exactly what it looks like.
That was beautiful. That was beautifully said. Y'all don't understand. If your vote didn't matter, if you say your vote doesn't matter, then why are they doing so much? They're doing the uttermost to stop you from voting. If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be telling you not to vote. If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be purging the vote. If their vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to stop you from mailing in your absentee ballots. Which y'all, I think I can't quote the day, but y'all need to go ahead and get on that if y'all are going to do it, because there's a particular time and date where you just can't do it, or it won't be counted. It just doesn't make any sense. And also, if for people who do not trust it, just absolutely do not trust mailing in your vote, that's fine. However, what you can do is figure out what date, or if your state allows in-person early voting. I can tell you right here, I'm wearing a North Carolina Panthers shirt, y'all. Live in North Carolina, so I know exactly what date. I already have it set and marked on my calendar. October 15th is when early voting starts here. I'm going to be there. I've already requested for the last minute voters, for people who are going to vote at the very second on November 3rd, because that's the last day, not the first day. We got plenty of time from here until there to vote. But for those who are going to be voting, if you see me at your polling location, I'm going to be handing out water. I'm going to be stopping people from leaving the lines. If I see you moving away, I'm going to drag your ass back to the line. I'm sorry, your ass ain't going. I'm going to have to run off with your car keys. Your ass ain't going no damn where unless your ass is voting. Sorry, I'm just not letting it happen, okay? You ain't going nowhere. I'm going to have to slash out a lot of people's tires in the parking lot if I have to keep y'all asses in that line and make sure that y'all asses vote. Because we're not playing no games. We got to vote them out of here. Again, we have so much on the line. And black people need to understand that their power. We've been having power for a very long time. They've been very scared of us having a seat at the damn table. And we're just so close of having somebody who has the tangibles, the receipts, the policies, and has the knowledge and the cultural competency to actually advocate on black issues, because this is what she's been doing her entire career. Kamala Harris, we have a chance to doing something. It's bigger than any of us. And even if you just say, well, I don't really have that much at stake in this election, don't be too selfish. Don't be too selfish to think about others. If you say you care about women's rights to choose, if you say you care about LGBT issues, if you say that Black Lives Matter, vote like they matter, because everything is on the line. And this is literally life and death at this point, because people are dying. More people have died due to COVID than people died in World War II. It's a sad situation. We have to do something. And you cannot sit out of this election. You can't be deterred by what's going on the internet. You can't. Because the internet ain't real. Trust me. A lot of damn accounts we done got doxed the hell up out of here. They're not real. I know it can seem crazy. I'm even, I gotta admit to myself, sometimes I'll get into a feud and a fight and get stuck in a screaming fight with somebody who ain't even damn real. Then wasted all my time and energy when I could have just actually been talking about the policies and educating people. Now's the time. Now's the time. And for those who saying that, they just aren't going to do anything for us, look at the policies. Just look. Now, let's go ahead and jump to the next subject. Because I kind of talked about it a little bit, but marginalizing of Kamala Harris supporters with the online bots and stuff like that. I know a lot of people are scared to show support for Kamala Harris because of false and misinformation and this fake, representation of her hating or having anti-black policies. Look, you make the difference. Just showing support for Kamala Harris. If you say I support Kamala Harris, I guarantee you people are less likely to say something negative about her in your presence, especially if you know some shit. You know some shit, they ain't gonna say nothing because they don't have substance to back up the things that they're saying. So, if you're more likely to wear a Kamala Harris t-shirt, wear it out in public. I purposely go to a predominantly white grocery store and I walk around, don't even shop. I walk around with my Kamala Harris and Biden Harris gear just to make the white folks mad. Be like me. Be an instigator. Make them mad. Make them understand that Donald Trump is going to be voted out. Be like me. It's okay. Same energy you have online, I need you to have that in person. I need you to also challenge your family members. Don't be scared. Sit down with them. Let them know what's going on. It's not that bad. If you're not good at making phone calls, because I know everybody's not set up for that. Some people aren't good with talking to strangers over the phone or text banking. Okay, there's something that you can do. For the people who are, you could download the Vote Joe app. I think I talked about it yesterday. All you have to do is download it. It automatically uploads all your contacts, and it just puts them in the Joe Biden database. So for when people who are able to talk to people over the phone about Joe Biden, about Kamala Harris, and about their policies, they'll be able to do that. And you just did something. You did your share by sharing that information. So there's so many ways to be involved in this campaign. There's so many ways to, push for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Do you have any comments on that, Britt?
I do. So, everything around the trolling, for those who don't know, when Kamala Harris decided she wanted to get in the race, I was became to be a big supporter of hers. And then when social media just got to be too much for me, I had people who were sending me messages on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Some were real accounts. Some were actually people who I know locally that were asking me about why I supported Kamala Harris. There were also people, other, bots and trolls and things like that. And so I actually had took a break from social media because I just, being a Black woman and enduring and taking in, right, the information about how people, a lot of people or society generally cares or thinks about Black women was just becoming too much for me. So, I took a break. It was necessary. And I felt like Kenny and Black Women Views and a lot of there's so many folks who have carried this work forward and have made it a space for me to be able to come back and to be a part of. And I feel a lot stronger because of it. I feel a lot stronger because all these various support systems for Kamala Harris has continued to existed. Continue to exist online. And so, we saw, if you do your history and your research, Shirley Chisholm, dealt with the same types of attacks from people of her own who look like her, from right-wing extremists. I mean, she really took a lot of heat, right, for wanting to be a Black woman in a position of power. And we saw the same thing happen to Kamala Harris. And, it amazes me how many people who I used to follow, how many influencers who I used to look up to, who have written books off of supporting Black women, who created hashtags over supporting Black women, and who have tried to create various types of spaces, whether they were online or offline, about supporting Black women. Yet when it was time to support the Black woman who ran for office for the 2020 election, that support was not there. And it became very clear to me that these influencers pick and choose who they support as Black women. There were influencers who were critical of her, who had no idea about the work that she had done with Black women on her entire campaign. The Black women who work with her on the trail. The Black women she connected with in her sorority over the years. They had no idea, and they tweeted. They made their statements, and things like, "Oh, well, she doesn't have a connection to Black people. She doesn't have a connection to Black women." The reason why they said those things is because they was not looking for her to do that. They did not do their research to know that she was doing that. They dismissed her from the time that she announced her candidacy in the 2020 election. They denounced her and they dismissed her. And for that had an influence and impact on women like me. Women like me who are on the ground, who are involved in the trenches of this work, right? I see what these influencers are saying about another Black woman. How do they think that comes across to women like me that are inspired by, politics and policy and making a difference in the world? They had no awareness, no self-awareness or reflection at all about how that would look towards women like me, who look into the footsteps of women to make a difference and to make a change. So, if anything, I think that the trolling and Kenny, I'll let you chime in on this, but the trolling came from all sides. The trolling did not discriminate. The trolling participated in the same discriminatory practices that we claim that we stand against. And that was very disappointing to me.
I mean, it is what it is, child. This is something that's always been plaguing the black community for a long time. I've been talking about it for too long. I mean, I've seen it in my own family. I mean, we keep acting like this is some unknown source. This is unknown. White people don't know about all the things that happen behind closed doors in the black community. When, child, we display it every day. I mean, go to the shade room. You don't see the toxic stuff that's happening in our community, the unsubstantive arguments about nothing, about absolutely nothing, us constantly tearing each other down. How can we ask a group of individuals to respect us when we don't even respect each other? That's the real question. How can we? So, and we hold everybody to feet to the fire and stuff like that. We want everybody to clean up their own communities, yet our own house is completely filthy and dirty and infested and roached, just filthy. We need to literally get a hold to the situation as it pertains to race. And this race situation is slave mentality. It's been going on since slavery. They purposely split us up. Light skins on the inside, dark skinned people outside. When at the end of the day, didn't matter if you was inside or outside, you were still a slave. They purposely picked up certain people from certain different tribes in Africa. Purposely picked people from different tribes so that we couldn't communicate with each other. Why do you think they had the triangle slave trade? Why do you think that no matter where you go, you will find a black person in Panama, in the Caribbeans, in America? The reason why is because of slavery. This is, and when you guys say that somebody isn't black enough, you're basically downing your own cousins. The only difference is we are where we are based off of coincidence and the luck of the draw. At the end of the day, we all came from the same place. And I'm so sick of this superiority crap coming from the ADOs. At the end of the day, when you get pulled over by a police officer, they're not asking you, what tribe did you originally come from? They're not asking you, are you Jamaican? Are you black? Are you Haitian? They're not asking any of those things. They're just looking at the color of your skin. And that tells them all they need to know about you. And for you guys to openly display this type of ignorance online and tearing down another black woman, giving validation for these white supremacist, bigoted people to do the same exact thing. Because what happened today should have never happened. Especially when it came to that Tupac Kamala stuff. I saw white people saying, oh, this is cringeworthy. How can they even speak on our own culture when they're white? Speak on black culture, talking about pandering to black people, but you're white. You're not even a part of the community. But this is what you guys allow to happen. You allow white people into our spaces and allow people to infiltrate our spaces. The Rachel Dolezals, etc. And you wonder why these things happen. Well, how did this happen? You allowed it to happen. You don't protect black women. You don't even protect your own people. Because, for some odd reason, you don't want to see somebody else succeed because you haven't walked in your own destiny yet. This is all projecting. It's all projection. And I've been talking about it for a long time. What you hate about Kamala Harris is not even Kamala Harris. It's not a person. What you hate is yourself. And you need to get into your mind and figure out what it is that's missing in yourself to where you don't have to fill this void by hating on others' success. You are powerful enough to do it on your own. You are powerful. You can do it. You're intelligent. Stop wasting your time on unsubstantive things. And all this energy that you're putting into hating Kamala Harris, you could be putting into building a business. You can be putting into your education. You can be putting it into your bank account, coming up with ideas. Because all this hateful shit that I see online, yeah, y'all be coming up with some funny memes. Sometimes I even like, oh, that's kind of funny. It's fucked up, but it's funny. You could be doing something else with it. But yet, here you are, blocking progress. What is it doing for you? Did you get a check? Did you get the job that you wanted? I want to know. What did you get out of it? Other than attacking this woman. And while you guys are attacking her, what the K-Hive is doing, or what Kamala supporters are doing, what Pete supporters are doing, what Biden supporters are doing, what some of Elizabeth Warren supporters are doing. What we're doing is lifting up the same woman you're trying to tear down. And it just makes us go even harder. And it makes you look like a hater now. Because you got absolutely nothing out of it. We have to stop. We have to stop this. I don't know what it's going to take for you guys to realize that what you're feeling about Kamala Harris has nothing to do with her. And you don't got to like her. I don't want you guys to like her. It's fine. You know, I'm stingy. I like to have Kamala to my damn self, honestly. But you don't got to like her. But what you don't have to do is lie on her. There's a lot of people I don't like. Everybody knows that I don't like a few people. But one thing I'm never going to do is lie on them. Because I don't have to do that. And I don't even necessarily need a reason not to like some damn body. If I just don't like them, it is what it is. I just don't like you. I don't have to come up with a reason. I have to come up with an excuse. What I want you guys to do is that your hate, your vitriol is going to be your own downfall, and it's going to be your own leader to failure. Because what we did in 2016 is coming back to haunt us. 200,000 deaths. 218 federal judges being appointed by Donald Trump, conservative judges, that's going to hurt you. So if you got a family member that's on death row and looking for an appeal, they shit out of luck because of your ignorance. The rolling back of Obamacare and possibly the abolishment of Obamacare, pre-existing conditions, the fact that millions of people are out of work because your hate, your vitriol for one person, Hillary Clinton. And Hillary just doing just fine. Y'all gave her a tax cut. Hillary Clinton's net worth is $64 million, baby. You put money in her pocket. What did you do for yourself? Oh, that's right. You hurt yourself. That's what you did. And now we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and we could possibly lose Roe v. Wade, which is access to women's reproductive rights and their right to choose. Because of your hatred, your vitriol. So all the things that you did, it's just like Celie, the color purple. Everything you did to me, you already done to you. So I want you to understand, this is the real. Everything that you're doing to Kamala, child, it's going to come back to you tenfold. That's in the Bible, baby. So for you evangelicals, it's in the Bible, baby. Treat your neighbor how you want to be treated, baby. It's in the Bible. So I want y'all to get into it, child. I know you got something to say, Britt. You just look like you holding it back.
I think this is like preacher version of Kitty right now, and I'm just loving it. Everybody in the comments are loving it. I, agree with a lot with what you're saying. It's what I realized from learning a lot about Kamala and what the criticism that she's experiencing is that it was a lot of projection, a lot of self-hate. I have been in that position before as someone who often speaks out about a lot of issues that should not be as controversial as they should. But, any issues around civil and human rights, and particularly around Me Too issues, ending sexual violence and abuse, I have been there. I've been in that position before where I have been a target for speaking out about these issues and protecting survivors. So it's, the treatment that Kamala Harris experienced is very personal for me. The lies, the myths, the misinformation, that's a part of it. That is what that is what the trolls and, people who don't understand politics or who, it's made up, the hate train is made up of a variety of different roles, but I've been there on a much smaller scale into Kamala. And I know that, once I started doing my own research on her and understanding her perspective, understanding why she made the decisions that she made, it helped me to become a better advocate on her behalf. And again, we we did the same thing to. I always like to mention we did the same thing to the candidates of color from the beginning. When Kamala Harris was in a race, she was used as a shield. The non-white candidates, they used Kamala Harris as a shield. They used Cory Booker as a shield. They used other candidates of color to hide behind, being able to address a lot of the issues around things such as reparations and all kinds of issues, particularly related to Black people and communities of color. So, the hate train continues. Kenny, it's very funny and interesting to me to see that the same critics who did not support Kamala in the primary are now doing Instagram lives with her, and they are inviting her to do interviews.
Child, I remember she couldn't get an interview to save her damn life. It was a situation. But we knew this was going to happen. I think I said this maybe like videos before that they was going to be kissing Kamala's ass. It is what it is, child. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is we were so busy thinking that because of all the backlash of Black people and back in 2016 of everybody electing Donald Trump that we needed a white candidate. So I guess everybody felt they needed to kiss some white ass. I guess that's what they felt they needed to do. So that's where they were. They were with the Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warrens. And I mean, again, I have no real problem with Bernie or Elizabeth Warren. I just have a problem with his staffers. I have a problem with his campaign, staffers, Breonna Grays and the Brittany Coopers and stuff like that. I have problems with them. I'm not necessarily the candidate itself, but the buck stops with them if you're representation, if you're on payroll. But again, they felt that they had to kiss white ass because that's what they thought that's where it was gonna go. But what y'all don't know, and what I knew for a long time, is that Black women are the future. They're the future of politics. They've been carrying politics on their back. They've been carrying the Democratic Party for years. They built this damn nation. They birthed this damn nation. They raised your damn kids. Everybody's seen the damn help. Everybody knows what the hell's going on. They're the ones who led us to freedom, Harriet Tubman. They created one of the first Black billionaire businesses, okay? Madam C.J. Walker, employing thousands of Black people. Employment. Black women did that. And it's funny that we're getting a lot of backlash from a lot of Black men because they're not doing it. We allowed you guys to be leaders for a long time. And I'm a Black man too. I'm speaking on it. We allow Black men to be leaders for a long time, and you have done nothing with it. We even have a Black Supreme Court justice who's sitting there cooning and chuck jiving, Clarence Thomas. What has he done? But help white supremacy. But coon. It's time for Black men to take the back seat and allow Black women to lead, is what I say. And I don't feel any type of way about it. Yeah, I'm gay, whatever. It doesn't bother me knowing that Black women are leading and winning, because if Black women, being the fact that y'all are the most marginalized group, period, nobody's more marginalized and more misrepresented and more disrespected than Black women. That's just it. That's just the fact. Being the fact that you guys are the most marginalized, it should inspire me to step up and do more. If I see you guys succeeding in your workspaces and your careers, then that should inspire me to be like, okay, knowing that you have all these barriers in front of you and you're still winning, that's a testament. That's a testament. So that means I need to do more. That doesn't make me feel insecure or less than. It just means I'm just not doing enough. And when I'm leading, knowing that I'm doing a half-ass job and half-ass effort, and there's a Black woman who's more qualified than me, doing more, And I'm still getting all the recognition. Just shows you that even being a black man comes with privilege. Just being a man comes with privilege. Even though I'm black and I'm gay, I'm still a man. And it still comes with privilege. Black women, it's time for you to walk in your destiny because it's calling. All you got to do is reach out. All you got to do is vote. That's it. Y'all are so powerful. It's ridiculous. That's why, it hurts me when I see, when I know people like you, Brittany, supporting other black women, trying to support black women, and then being tore down for doing so. Because you see yourself through Kamala. And I know that you're thinking about running for office soon. So, everybody get a good look at this face. I'm talking to a future politician, y'all. I'm talking to a future senator, congresswoman. So, I got to get mine in now. So that way I can come back and say, hey, y'all, remember? We were just sitting here just having a chit chat on 2Raw&Unfiltered. So, I'm speaking things into existence for you, girl. I'm really looking forward to seeing everything that you have coming up. And you have anything else to kind of wrap up with, or anything you want to, tell the people?
Yeah. So, I love you, Kenny, so much. I just want to say that so the work I've been doing for so long, at some point in time, you have to figure out what are next steps when it comes to the activism and organizing. And you can hit kind of a standstill. Like you come to a point where it's just like, okay, well, what do I do now? And so what I can say is that I have been exploring what it means to have access to power and how the issues that I have been working on for so long, how I can help advance those things both locally, nationally, in various ways. So I am a huge supporter of Black women running for public office and believing in yourself that you can do it. When I was really young, I was never told that I could run for public office. It was not something I learned until I was much older. And if anything from this election, we should be able to see that, and from our again from the administration, is that you don't need to be a doctor, a lawyer. You can come from a diverse background, right, and run for public office. All you need is a passion for wanting to make a difference in your community. And so these are topics that I will be talking more about, and that I will be trying very much to get other Black women involved and learning more about civic engagement and what working in politics means and how they can take their level of work to the next level. Because voting is important. Protesting in the streets is important. For those who don't know, I will grab a bullhorn and will show up in the streets with no issues. If it means standing up for what's right. But you got to have a plan after the protests. You got to have policies that you can advocate on after the protests. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who are in it for the long haul, from the protest to the policy. And my goal is to inspire other Black women, but other people, is all kinds of people from various backgrounds who never thought that they had potential, who never thought that they could do that type of work. That's what I'm committed to in the near future. And with platforms such as, Kenny's, it's going to help do just that. Because Kamala Harris is one of the main reasons why I still have hope in how I can make a difference, and why I think that in the near future that I will be exploring a lot of opportunities that will put me in a position where I can really create some real change. Kamala Harris will always be a part of that journey for me. And so for platforms like this and Kenny and all of you, that's why I do what I do.
And I'm glad you do what you do too, because it inspires me to step up. I gotta step up. I mean, I gotta do more. It's honestly, I'm probably gonna end with this. I was raised by a very strong black woman, Sandra LaFay Donald. Go ahead, give her whole government name. That's the woman who raised me. That's my mother. I looked at her, holding down 3 jobs while taking care of 4 children with no child support. And for the for a good amount of the time, there was no father figure in the house or whatever. And she was able to make sure that we got the affordable schooling. She had us in the Boys and Girls Club, which you have to pay for. We actually stayed in St. Petersburg, Florida in the 90s, literally about a good 15-minute walk from the beach. How she did it, I have no idea. My mom she got maybe like 4 hours of sleep a day. She worked every day, worked her ass off, so that we wouldn't have to struggle, so that we could have, the best education and stuff like that. That's what my mother did. She sacrificed so much for her children. Just like I know so many other black women are sacrificing so much, not only for their children, but also being in the front lines of the Black Lives Matter movement. I see you on the front lines more than black men, more than any other demographic, is black women that are fighting. So I want to emphasize this again. You guys are the future. So walk in it. Act like it. Believe it. I know you guys have been conditioned to believe in your life that somehow that a man is supposed to do something for you, but everything that you're looking for, man, baby, you have it in you. It's all there. All you have to do is dig deep down, tap into the power that you possess, because it's threatening to many men who wish they had that same type of power that you guys possess. And I'm going to end it with that. I think that's the best way of doing it. And I thank you so much, Brittany, for being my first on 2Raw&Unfiltered. I think this was a very good episode, and we will see you guys. Oh, I'm doing another episode on Monday, hopefully. I'll see you guys on Monday for another episode. I'm going to have a little bit more people on it. Anybody who wants to join in, I can only have 6. Anybody who wants to join in and have real conversations like this, real substantive conversations. You can say whatever you want to say. We ain't always got to agree. We can agree to disagree. However, if you want to have a real substantive conversation, hit me up on my DMs at 2Raw2Real on Twitter. You can also hit me up on my DMs on Instagram, 2Raw2Real again. YouTube, comment. You guys can comment under the video whenever it finished posting, because it's also going to be uploaded after this. If you guys would like to join, but I got to do some background check on you, because I ain't going to have some crazy ass motherfucker on here. I'm sorry. Situation. Yeah, and then you can also follow me on because this is also streaming on Facebook as well at Kenny Walden. So this was a great episode, and I will see you guys later. Bye, y'all.